There's an important conversation occurring in this country about whether we want to be a country of laws or whether we want to be a country without borders. It is one of the reasons the American people elected President Donald Trump, and that was to end the lawlessness at our southern border. It's within our grasp. We can do it. Importantly, some years ago, it was decided to arrest some people who had crossed the border illegally, but anyone that brought a child with them would be given effective immunity from prosecution and would not be prosecuted. Word got out about this loophole, and the results were predictable. The number of aliens illegally crossing with children went from 14,000 to 75,000 in just 4 years, a 5-fold increase. This cannot continue. These children are not entering at ports of entry, but in dangerous places, in deserts, and crossing our fences and attempting to escape law enforcement officers. We do not want to separate children from their parents. We do not want adults to bring children into this country unlawfully either, placing those children at risk. But we do have a policy of prosecuting adults who flout our laws to come here illegally instead of waiting their turn or claiming asylum at any of our ports of entry. They can go to our ports of entry if they want to claim asylum, and they won't be arrested. We cannot and will not encourage people to bring their children or other children to the country unlawfully by giving them immunity in the process. Why wouldn't you bring children with you if you know you would be released and not prosecuted? After the policies of the last 8 years, we had hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors. These are people, children, young people that came without adults and their parents, coming through our borders, which has led to a resurgence of the violent MS-13 gang terrorizing high schools and even middle schools in Maryland and Long Island. I visited Islip, New York. I met with the parents of the 2 16-year-old girls that were murdered with machetes and baseball bats by MS-13. They told us there was a wing of the school known as the MS-13 wing. They told us even the administrators and teachers were afraid of these people. Most of the children we are caring for today in our system came here as unaccompanied minors. It's a much smaller number that are coming as a result with families, and that's happened and surged recently. In total, now when a child is brought here in that fashion or parents are prosecuted, the children are turned over within hours to the Department of Health and Human Services. They're not put in jail, of course. They're taken care of. They remain in the country, even though they don't have a lawful process to be here. That's an enormous cost that is being incurred by our government. Because we sent a message, a bad message, to those crossing illegally, if you bring children, you can avoid prosecution and deportation. This country is dedicated to caring for those children. You saw Kirsten just a few moments ago, and they are committed at Homeland Security, and within 72 hours, those children have to be at the Department of Health and Human Services. And the Secretary has made clear that they are working hard to always take care of them properly. So let's remember, we have a generous, lawful system that admits over 1 million people a year to permanent legal status in America. But when we ignore our laws at the border, we obviously encourage hundreds of thousands of people a year to likewise ignore our laws and illegally enter our country, creating an enormous burden on our law enforcement, on our schools, our hospitals, and our social programs. President Trump has said this lawlessness cannot continue. We do not want to separate parents from their children. You can be sure of that. If we build a wall, we pass some legislation, we close some loopholes, We won't face these terrible choices. The numbers will end. We will have a system where those who need to apply for asylum can do so, and those who want to come to this country will apply to enter lawfully. The American people are generous who want our laws enforced. That is what we intend to do, and we ask Congress to be partners in this effort. It is critically important that they help us at this critical time.